Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you an updated products I've hit pan on. I love filming these videos about once a year because it's a great way to just celebrate actually using products to the point of hitting pan. I always feel so accomplished when I hit pan on something. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the pan that I currently have in my collection. Some of these are products that I hit pan on as part of my Project Pan last year, so those definitely took like some dedicated effort to hit pan on, but then others of these things I hit pan on naturally without even necessarily trying. But either way, all of these are very well-loved products that I'm excited to share with you today. Speaking of well-loved items, I wanted to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Ana Luisa Jewelry. When I find a jewelry piece that I like, I wear it all the time. Like, I pretty much wear the same few pieces on rotation constantly, and the vast majority of my jewelry comes from Ana Luisa. I love their jewelry so much. Not only do they have super cute and unique designs, but what really makes Ana Luisa stand out to me is that their pieces are designed to stand the test of time. They're tarnish resistant and they all undergo humidity and strength testing so that you know they're going to hold up over time. I've had some of my Ana Luisa pieces for 4 years at this point and they are still going strong. The pieces are also relatively affordable for the quality that you get. They start at just $39. Even more importantly, Ana Luisa is super thoughtful about their environmental impact from their sourcing to production to shipping. They are carbon neutral as well as climate neutral certified. And as you know, Mother's Day is right around the corner and Ana Luisa is currently running a Mother's Day sale on their site. So now would be the perfect time to try them out, whether for yourself or for a mom or mother figure in your life. I personally have gifted some Ana Luisa pieces to my own mom and she loves them. If you're looking for some recommendations for pieces to check out, I've got you. Since the last time I worked with Ana Luisa, they've added a bunch of silver pieces to their line, as well as some mixed metal pieces, which I think is so fun since I've been getting a lot more into silver recently. So today I have on their rope slim ring in silver. I also have this one in gold, and I'm really happy to now have both color options. I also have on their Chloe ring on my other hand. This one I've had for a couple of years now, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. I'm also wearing another one of my older pieces from Ana Luisa. This is their Souryaz necklace, which has a little butterfly charm on it. I think this is probably my top favorite piece from Ana Luisa that I've ever owned. I just think it is so cute with the little butterfly, perfect for spring. And because I've got a mixed metals look going on today, I have on their Athr hoops. These are so cool because they have both silver and gold on them. So they're perfect for tying together a mixed metals ensemble. Like, sometimes I can't choose between gold and silver and I just want to wear both, and so these earrings are perfect for that. Another one of their pieces I've been wearing a ton recently are their low medium silver hoops. These, in my opinion, are like the perfect size for just an everyday pair of hoops. These are the kind of thing that go with everything. They're just so classy and timeless. So those are just a few of my current favorites from Ana Luisa. Also wanted to mention that all of their pieces come with a 2-year warranty, free shipping, and free exchanges. So you really can't go wrong. If you want to check out their Mother's Day sale that's going on right now, I will leave a link in my description box. And if you do follow that link, I don't earn like an extra commission or anything, but it does let the brand know that I sent you. So it really does help me out if you do choose to shop. If you shop through that link, I would really appreciate it. But thank you again to Ana Luisa for supporting me and sponsoring my channel. Let's go ahead and get into the products I've hit pan on. Let's start with my most recent pan. I actually hit pan on this just earlier today, and this is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is just the mini size, but it has taken me a while to hit pan on this. This is such a nice primer. I really only recently fell in love with this primer. I've had it in my collection for a while, but it's been in my everyday makeup drawer for the last couple of months, and I've been using it a ton, and it's really started to grow on me. It's not that I didn't like it before, but I just didn't really use it all that much. But now that I've been using it more regularly, I really do understand the hype on this product. It really is exactly what it says it is. I mean, it's not going to make you look completely poreless. I don't think any product is capable of doing that. Maybe there is. If there is, let me know. But it just creates a beautiful base for makeup. It smooths and blurs, and I also do feel like it just helps keep my makeup looking fresher longer. So I mainly target this on like my nose, my T-zone, and the sides of my nose where I have like enlarged pores. I tend to get a little bit oily in that area, and I just feel like my makeup sits beautifully on top of this. Today I have on the Ilia Skin Tint as my foundation, which is a pretty luminous foundation as it is, so it's kind of nice to have something a little bit smoothing and blurring underneath that. But I've really been loving this primer, and I'm thinking now it probably won't take me too much longer to finish this up since it is so small, so hopefully I'll have this empty at some point this year. let's talk about something that I have hit pan on twice. This is my second compact here of the Covergirl Clean Fresh Pressed Powder. I just recently hit pan on this, so I have just like the teeniest little sliver of pan there in the middle, but this is one of my favorite powders. I'm not super picky when it comes to powders, but well, I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe I am a little picky. This just does everything that I want a powder to do. It sets my makeup without looking dry and heavy. It's a very nice, like kind of lightweight powder. A little bit goes a long way. It's mattifying, but I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the most like oil controlling powder of all time, because like I said, I don't have super oily skin. But for me, it has a little bit of a blurring effect. And I also really like that this powder is translucent, so I can use it to set my cream cheek products without it taking away any of the color. So I love this so much. I have the shade Fair. I know it also comes in like a translucent shade that looks white. I haven't tried that one, but honestly, I feel like the Fair one is also translucent, so this is the one that I have gone back to. But love this powder if you're looking for a good drugstore pressed powder. I can't recommend this highly enough. I have a couple of bronzers with pan in my collection. I've really been trying to not necessarily use up bronzers this year, but just hit pan on more bronzers. One of these I've had pan in for a while, but the pan has gotten really big. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in Fair. This is a huge bronzer, like a really wide pan. So even though this is a really expensive bronzer, I at least appreciate that it's huge, so you're like really getting your money's worth. And it's also refillable, so you can pop out the pan when it's empty and buy a refill for less than what the like original compact costs. So I have the shade Fair. As you can see, it is very light. It's really just barely deeper than my skin tone. I think this is the lightest bronzer that I own. It's great especially in the winter months when I don't really want to go for a super bronzy look, but I still want to just kind of warm up and sculpt my face a little bit. This does a great job. It is so easy to work with, impossible to mess up. I would say, ever since trying the Fenty powder bronzer, that one I have to say I like just a little bit more. I have the shade Into Sun, which is the lightest shade in that one as well. That one has like the slightest rosy undertone, whereas this one is a bit more golden. And I just love rosy bronzers so much. So this one has taken a little bit of a backseat in my rotation, but I still love it. Like I still adore this bronzer and I will use it up for sure. My newest bronzer pan I'm really excited about is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. This I have in the shade Feelin' Shady, and this is another really light toned bronzer. It's actually more of a contour, honestly. I mean, it's very cool toned. But this actually took a surprising amount of time to hit pan on. I thought it was going to be quick because it seems like a really small jar. Like it seems smaller than a lot of my other bronzers, but it actually comes with a pretty standard amount of bronzer. It comes with 0.35 ounces or 10 grams, which is actually bigger, I think, than a lot of cream blushes and bronzers on the market. But yeah, it's a deceivingly small little pot. But finally hit pan on this guy. I'm so happy about it. I love this bronzer. As I've said before, my preference with bronzer is the lighter and the more sheer, the better. I want something that I can't mess up, that's not gonna look muddy on me. That's really what I look for in a bronzer. And this is a very sheer formula, so if that's what you're looking for, highly recommend these. It's another one that I feel like it's foolproof, it's effortless. The only thing I will warn you of is that the pot is quite small, so I have to use like a really small brush with it. I have a few like really small angled blush brushes. This one is the Ciate London and Hannah Martin blush brush, and it's perfect for this, but I just wanted to point that out. Like, it is kind of annoying that you can't use bigger brushes with it, but that's okay with me. Okay, I have a bunch of eyeshadow pans to share today. That is by far the biggest category, but let's first get the last non-eyeshadow pan out of the way. This is actually a lip balm. This is the Nomad Air Lip Salve. I love this lip balm. This has been my nighttime lip balm since it came out. I think in, was it November or December? So I've been using this for a good five months or so, and I only just recently hit pan on this actually. This has been so nice to have, especially since I've started developing a sensitivity to a lot of different lip products. This is one of the few lip balms that does not make my throat tickle, and I really appreciate that. It does have a light rosy scent. It's like kind of like a fresh rosy scent. Like, you know how some rosy scents smell like a dried up rose and some smell more like a fresh rose water? This is more on the fresh end of rose, and I find it really pleasant. It doesn't have any sort of taste. I don't feel like the smell really like overpowers the air when I'm applying it, but it definitely does have a scent, so I just want to point that out. But beautiful texture. You can see it does have a little bit of a pink tint in the pot, but it goes on completely clear. Like, it doesn't really give any color to your lips. But I love this lip balm. I feel like it keeps my lips hydrated, keeps them from getting chapped. Like I said, I wear it to bed every single night, and I still have a ton left. This actually comes with a lot of product, 0.9 ounces or 25 grams. So more than double of what the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer comes with, just for comparison, which is kind of interesting because the packaging doesn't look that much bigger. So that brings me to my eyeshadow pans. I have some really exciting ones to share here. So I now have pan in both of my Colourpop Super Shock shadows. I hit pan on Ritz a few months ago, and actually just the other day I hit pan in A Little Quirky. Now, I do want to say Colourpop Super Shock shadows are one of the easier products to hit pan on because they're very squishy, and the pans themselves are much more shallow than you would think based on the packaging. Like, the packaging is actually more bulky than it needs to be because this right here is the pan. So all of this is just packaging underneath here. But you'll see, actually, these are very similar shades. They're both taupe with kind of like a silver shimmer mixed in. And these are both from their Ultra Glitter line. Today I have on a combination of a bunch of these eyeshadows, but I do have A Little Quirky on my lid today. I love both of these. Ritz I think of as more of a topper, and A Little Quirky I think of more as a one and done shadow, but I also use it as a topper all the time. So I feel like most people have probably tried a Colourpop Super Shock shadow at some point in time because they've just been such a cult favorite for like the past decade. But this formula has really stood the test of time in my opinion. These were way ahead of their time when they came out in, like, what was it, 2014? I have to say, these are just as pretty as so many of my high-end shimmers. I feel like these even compare to some of the shimmers in like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. They are just so incredible. I am resisting the urge to buy more because they can dry out. So you want to pick shades that you know you're going to wear a lot and that you can like commit to using, because I have had shades dry up on me in the past. So I'm really trying not to like collect too many of them, but man, it's tempting. Like, there are so many pretty shades, but that is that. Okay, I also hit pan last year on one of my magnetic singles. This is the oldest makeup product in my collection, I'm pretty sure, and it is a Makeup Geek single shadow, and Makeup Geek is no longer a brand, so this is definitely like a throwback product. This is their foiled eyeshadow in the shade Grandstand. It's this really beautiful rose gold color. I also have this on my lids today under A Little Quirky from Colourpop. I did hit pan on this as part of my Project Pan in 2023, but I have since expanded the pan a little bit. This is such a beautiful everyday shadow. It works great as a one and done shade as well. This shadow actually shattered a few years ago and I repressed it, and I think I lost a little bit of powder in that process. So it's actually not as deep as I think it originally was. Like, it's actually a pretty thin layer of shadow in there, so I'm starting to think it wouldn't be too hard to use up this eyeshadow this year. This would be so cool to finish. It has been a long time since I've used up a full eyeshadow, and I kind of think I should work towards using this one up, so I think I might try to do that. But I have a few other rose gold eyeshadows that I'm focusing on this year, so, you know, we'll see. Another throwback, this is the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette. I already had two pans in here for a while, and I recently hit pan in the shade Opal Aura. You might not be able to see it. It's this like silvery blue frosty shade. I have this shade on my inner corner today. You might not be able to see the pan because the pan is like the same color as the shadow, but I loved this palette. Actually, the formula of these shimmers reminds me a lot of the Colourpop Super Shock shadows. Same kind of squishy texture, which I think is why it's probably easier to hit pan on this type of shade than a powder shimmer. But the shimmers in here are absolutely delightful. They are so just like dimensional and sparkly. I really felt like this palette didn't get enough hype when it launched, but also it was limited edition, which is tragic because, as I've said many times, I think this is one of Urban Decay's best palettes. Another discontinued palette that I love, actually this brand no longer exists either, this is the Aether Beauty Rose Quartz palette. This palette contains one of my all-time favorite eyeshadows, this shade right here, Sandstone. I have a pretty decent sized pan in here. This is one of the few products that I'm kind of savoring because I don't want to finish it. Usually I like working towards finishing products, but this is one of those rare things that I don't want to use up because I feel like nothing really compares to this eyeshadow. I know it looks like the most basic matte shade of all time, but in the pan it doesn't even quite do it justice. On my skin tone, this turns a little bit rosy, and I just love it. It is the perfect transition shade for literally any look because I feel like it just blends any shade into my skin tone seamlessly. This is what I have in my crease today. Obviously, I don't want to savor it for too long because like this palette is getting pretty old and I wouldn't want it to expire either. So I'll probably have to just start working towards using it up. But I don't know, I said a long time ago, I want to go through my collection and see if I have any other shades that dupe this. I don't think there are any that truly dupe it, but I'm gonna have to go on a little hunt for that. Okay, I'm gonna save the best one for last. But last year I did hit pan in my Klarity So Mermaizing eyeshadow palette. I don't think they sell this anymore. I think they have officially discontinued this palette, but I have raved and raved about specifically the shimmers in this palette for years. And my favorite shade in here is the shade Oh Ship. That is this like golden green duochrome. This I have on my lids today as a topper. I have a lot of shades on my eyes right now because I was just trying to use like all of these eyeshadows in a look somehow. But yeah, Oh Ship is just such a stunning eyeshadow. As I've said, I don't love the matte formula in this palette. I do feel like it's just a little bit dry and chalky. I have some other pastels in my collection that I like more, but the shimmers are really what keep me coming back to this palette. And last but not least, I have a new pan in my Anastasia Norvina palette. So this palette, I tried to do a pan that palette on this in I think it was 2022. My goal was to hit pan in every single shade. I ended up hitting pan in 9 out of the 14 shades in here, but I have since finally hit pan on really the last shade in here that I cared to hit pan on before I retire this. And I'm planning on retiring this palette at the end of this year because it's really old. But I finally just the other day hit pan on the shade Incense in here, which is this warm brown matte. It's actually funny to me that it took me this long to hit pan on that shade because it is such a like usable shade. I feel like, you know, especially, I don't know, I think I wasn't as into warm browns the first few years I had this palette as I am now. So that's probably why. But finally have pan in Incense, which is so exciting. I also hit pan again in base. I did repress this one a couple of months ago, so it's a very small amount of powder in there, but I did hit pan on that as well. I would like to use up this shade, I think, this year too. So my plan is to retire this palette at the end of the year, regardless of what shades I can use up or hit pan on. Today I'm actually not wearing Incense, but I am wearing actually these two deep shades down here. I mixed Passion and Drama for my kind of outer corner smudgy smoky liner. So that's what's in my outer corner. I do actually have a decent sized dip in both of those shades, so it would be great to hit pan in those as well. I guess I can kind of start trying to do that. So I now have pan in 10 out of the 14 shades in this palette. So now the only shades I don't have pan on are Soul, Eccentric, Drama, and Passion. So we'll see if I hit pan on those this year, but at this point I also am kind of moving towards trying to use some of the shades up. Like I said, I do want to try to use up Base and possibly Dazzling as well, this taupe shimmer. That's clearly one of my favorite shades in the palette too. So love this palette. This is another thing that has been discontinued for a while now, and it is one of the oldest things I own, so I'm just trying to use it as much as I can this year because it's one of my all-time favorite palettes, but I do think I'm going to need to retire this at the end of 2024. Like, I think it needs to happen. So just savoring the time I have left with it, I guess. But that is everything that currently has pan in my collection. I hope I didn't forget anything. Some of you guys might know better than me if I forgot something, but that's everything that I found that has pan in it currently. I was really hoping I'd be able to include the Milani cream blush in this video today because I've been trying to hit pan on this for like the longest time, but still no pan. Very big dip in here, but still no pan. So watch me hit pan in this like tomorrow. That's usually how it goes. Also still haven't hit pan in the Fenty bronzer, but this is next. This is the next bronzer I want to hit pan on. So that is my updated products I've hit pan on video, even though I'm not doing a dedicated project pan this year, although I might possibly do some little mini short-term projects because I don't know, I kind of have the itch. Kind of miss project panning. I didn't think I was going to say that, but I kind of miss it. But I've also been really enjoying just using my products freely and just kind of seeing what I naturally gravitate towards using. And it feels really good to still be hitting pan on products, even though I'm not trying to necessarily. So Thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out their Mother's Day sale that's going on right now, like I said, the link will be down below in the description box. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you had fun, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!